PSE index had an outstanding performance last week. It went up from 6,199.25 last May 21, 2021, to 6,674.51 this May 28, 2021. This performance is equivalent to a 7.67% increase in the index for the week. Our magical stocks also went up from 465.18k pesos to 488.9k pesos, or a 5.1% increase in our investment. Overall, our magical stocks profit went up from 14.07k pesos to 37.8k pesos. We will update the 3 batches of magical stocks together with the 5 experimental magical stocks for this week's video. This includes the recently screened May experimental stocks. Before we proceed with our update, and if you are interested in investing using our magical stocks or monitoring our system's effectiveness, please like this channel, subscribe and hit the notification button to keep you updated weekly. Let's first discuss the November experimental magical stocks performance from May 21, 2021, to May 28, 2021. Here is our worksheet for our November experimental stocks. Our top performer is SECB gaining 10.31%, while the least performer is MEG losing -20.76%. We have one sell signal in our 5 experimental stocks. Let's look at the trend which we started to monitor last November 20, 2020. The PSE index went up from -13.54% to -6.91%, gaining 6.63%. The experimental magical stocks also went up from -7.59% to -2.45%, gaining 5.13%. The experiment is below the benchmark line, while the index is also below the benchmark line. Our experiment is above the index with a gap of 4.45% this May 28, 2021, coming from 5.95% last May 21, 2021. Let's now discuss the December experimental magical stocks performance from May 21, 2021, to May 28, 2021. Here is our worksheet for our December experimental stocks. Our top performer is FGen gaining 1.77%, while the least performer is DMC losing -7.92%. We still don't have any sell signal for each of the 5 experimental stocks. Let's look at the experiment's trend, which we compare against the PSE index starting December 18, 2020. The PSE index went up from -14.76% to -8.23%, gaining 6.53%. The experimental magical stocks also went up from -5.02% to -3.22%, gaining 1.8%. The experiment is below the benchmark line, while the index is also below the benchmark line. Our experiment is above the index with a gap of 5.01% this May 28, 2021, coming from 9.74% last May 21, 2021. Let's now discuss the February experimental magical stocks performance from May 21, 2021, to May 28, 2021. Here is our worksheet for our February experimental stocks. Our top performer is SCC gaining 3.94%, while the least performer is VLL losing -9.93%. We still don't have any sell signal for each of the 5 experimental stocks. Let's look at the experiment's trend, which we compare against the PSE index starting February 19, 2021. The PSE index went up from -10.5% to -3.64%, gaining 6.86%. The experimental magical stocks also went up from -7.67% to -5.79%, gaining 1.88%. The experiment is below the benchmark line, while the index is also below the benchmark line. Our experiment is below the index with a gap of -2.15% this May 28, 2021, coming from 2.83% last May 21, 2021. Let's now discuss the March experimental magical stocks performance from May 21, 2021, to May 28, 2021. Here is our worksheet for our March experimental stocks. Our top performer is GT Cap gaining 15.23%, while the least performer is FGen losing -2.71%. We still don't have any sell signal for each of the 5 experimental stocks. Let's look at the experiment's trend, which we compare against the PSE index starting March 19, 2021. The PSE index went up from -3.68% to 3.7%, gaining 7.38%. The experimental magical stocks also went up from 3.89% to 7.34%, gaining 3.46%. The experiment is above the benchmark line, while the index is also above the benchmark line. Our experiment is above the index with a gap of 3.64% this May 28, 2021, coming from 7.57% last May 21, 2021. Let's now discuss the May experimental magical stocks performance from May 21, 2021, to May 28, 2021. Here is our worksheet for our May experimental stocks. Our top performer is AEV gaining 15.11%, while the least performer is TEL but gaining 2.96%. Thus, we have a good performance for the first week of our May experiment. Let's look at the experiment's trend, which we compare against the PSE index starting May 21, 2021. The PSE index went up from 0% to 7.67%, gaining 7.67%. The experimental magical stocks also went up from 0% to 8.26%, gaining 8.26%. The experiment is above the benchmark line, while the index is also above the benchmark line. Our experiment is above the index with a gap of 0.59% this May 28, 2021, coming from 0% last May 21, 2021. Here is the worksheet for our 3 batches of magical stocks. Our first batch is above the market with a gap of 21.37% this May 28, 2021, coming from 23.27% last May 21, 2021. Our second batch is above the market with a gap of 1.27% this May 28, 2021, coming from 2.27% last May 21, 2021. Finally, our third batch is below the market with a gap of -5.18% this May 28, 2021, coming from -0.22% last May 21, 2021. To summarize our investment, the first batch of magical stocks is gaining by 33.77%, coming from 27.67%. On the other hand, the second batch is losing by -6.07%, coming from -11.67%. Finally, the third batch is losing by -1.15%, coming from -3.59%. Overall, with an investment of 451.11 K pesos, our investment's current value is 488.9 K pesos, equivalent to 8.38% coming from 3.12%. Thus, we have a gaining first batch, a losing second batch, and a losing third batch. That will be all for the magical stocks update this week. Thank you for watching. Next week, we will continue updating the 3 batches of magical stocks and the 5 experimental stocks. Quote, "In trading, the impossible happens about twice a year." Unquote. Henri M. Simos. See you in the following video. Have a great day ahead.